In this lesson on 9.2, we're going to be discussing percents and proportions. In this lesson, you're going to be learning how to, there are three different types of percent problems that we're going to be using, and you'll be seeing. A, what of 3 is 1? B, what number is 76% of 25? And C, 40 is 80% of what number? Now, number 2, the following proportion can be used to solve any percent problem. It's in words. Is over of is equal to a percent of 100. Is over of is equal to a percent over 100. Now, some people use this proportion to help them solve percent equations or to help them solve math problems. Is will always be your numerator. Of will be your denominator. So whatever number is by the word is will be your numerator. Whatever number is by the word of is your denominator. So let me show you some examples of this. What percent of 3 is 1? Of 3, so 3 is our denominator, is 1 is our percent, and we're trying to put that in a percent proportion. So in this example, what percent of 3 is 1? 3 is going to be considered your base. And the 1 is considered your part. 1 out of 3 is equal to what percent of 100? In our second example, what number is 76% of 25? So again, in our percent proportions, we see it's 76%. So 76 will go over 100. What number is 76% of 25? Of 25 means 25 would be our base. It's the whole. What percent of? What number is 75% of 25? In our last example, 40 is 80% of what number? Set these up as percent proportions. So in our C, 40 is 80% of what number? 80 goes over 100 in that part of the proportion. 40 is a part, so it's going to go over B for base. So here we set up our percent proportions. Number 3, use a proportion to answer the question. Now we have A, B, and C. I'm going to pause the video so we can work these three, set them up as percent proportion using our previous notes. As you're setting these up, please solve them. In each of these examples, we set them up as a percent proportion. What number is 18% of 150? 18 goes over 100, and we're trying to find out what the part of 150 is 18%. We simplified and then solved it. B, 54 is 36% of what number? 36 goes over 100 because it's 36%. 54 is, that's going to be part of your whole, so that's going to be your numerator. Again, we simplified it and solved it. C, what percent of 140 is 105? Again, we're trying to determine what percent is. So we had the P over the 100 to determine what the percent is. Then we had 105 over 140 and simplified it and solved it from there. Word problem. You have 40 books on your bookshelf. If 16 are comic books, what percent of the books on your bookshelves are comic books? So we set it up. 16 out of the 40 books were comic books. So we set that up in percent proportion, simplified it so that we could solve it with using equivalent fractions. Number 5. 20% of the trees in a park are oak trees. There are 7 oak trees in the park. How many trees are in the park in all? So we set this up. We knew that there were 7 oak trees in the park, and those 7 oak trees made up 20%. So we had 7 over our B for base is equal to 20 over 100, 20% out of 100. We simplified it and solved it, and we made sure that 35 made sense to be our answer. Number 6, 10% of Denmark's total area is forest and woodland. The total area of Denmark is 43,070 kilometers squared. How many square kilometers of Denmark's areas are forest and woodland? So in this example, 10% of Denmark's total area is forest and wetland. So we put 10 over 100. Then the total area of Denmark is 43,070. Even though the word is by that number, you need to read it logically. That's the total area. So that would be your base. That would be your 100%. That's the total area. So then you can either solve it mentally or reduce it and then try to solve it using equivalent fractions. Your final answer would be 4,307 kilometers squared. Number 7. If 1% of a number is 6, what is the number? So we again set this up in proportion. 6 out of 600 is 1%.